Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hello. How's it going, everybody? We had some interesting stuff that dropped this morning. Little teaser review that popped up. If you haven't seen that yet, I highly recommend checking it out. It is great. The first major peek into content that's coming for season 3. I can't really tell you too much about it. I'll cut this off right now. Like I'll answer everything I can, but like it's gonna be a lot of vague half answers about more details on exactly what's happening in that trailer. I love to see the speculation, and I'm interested to see what people think it is as well, because that's always fun to see. All right, we do have Taylor pulling some questions for me from stream chat and from Twitch and from YouTube. So if you're there, please put @LastEpochGame or @LastEpoch to get a question put onto the list for me to answer. As usual, we do stream for charity. We're streaming for the Trevor Project these days. All of everything that comes from stream goes right to them. And we're still playing our marksman. It's going great. Very pleased. We are up at 256 corruption, which is lovely to see that that's actually working for us. I think this might be, if everything keeps going well, I think we may be on pace to actually complete Aberoth on a stream character for the first time. I don't think I've done that before, like with a fully legit stream character that I didn't play on the dev servers or anything like that. I just gotta remember how to actually play it. All right, we are going to kick off some questions here. Can you tell us about the goat character? Okay, let's just cut all of this stuff here. We're not gonna do that. Can you tell us about the goat character? Not much, really. It is a character that you'll be seeing in season 3. It's about all. I think it's pretty obvious from the trailer. It's about all we can talk about it, really. It is not the only time you'll see that character. I think I can probably say that safely. It's not a one and done just for the trailer. We can tank it. That's right. We can tank it. It's great. I gotta remember to stay put. Okay. I like the brewery. It's fun. All the beer. It spurs a lot of questions on. All right. Let's see what more questions do we have here. For loading. Yo, Mike, great job on season 3 so far. The hype is real. Please extend my congrats to the team and all the hard work you all put in. Thanks. Is this new event featured in the season 3 trailer release the Cycle 1.2 Primal Hunt Endgame event? Events referenced in the image on Discord on the main channel. Can you go into any kind of detail on what the Primal Hunt Endgame event is and how it works? So I think this is referencing the original what are they called? Timelines, roadmaps. The original roadmap image, is that what we're talking about here? I think that's what it is, and that is like, so a lot's changed since that original roadmap image came out. A lot of the content that was delayed from that we kind of skipped over on the original version of 1.2 that was listed in that roadmap has been adjusted, reworked, rebuilt, and put back together in a new way for the actual 1.3 that we're releasing, or season 3, sorry. So like you can kind of see what we were going for back then from those posts, but there's a lot of differences about it now from what it was going to be originally. Like the whole patch. When do the fallen mages okay, should we expect the release date to be set in stone for season 3? I mean, barring some catastrophic event. So yeah, there's always a chance that, you know, something goes horribly wrong, and you know, all of that. But barring some sort of catastrophic event, yeah, we're confident in the timeline. Things are going well for it, and I'd be pretty surprised if something changes at this point. Here we go, a little bow action there. Having a solid release date that we stick to is really important for us right now. Can you tell us if there's going to be another skill tree in season 3 similar to the Weaver's tree? Will it be a Goatman tree? I can't really go into details specifically on the content that's coming with season 3 yet. The Weaver's tree is pretty extensive. And pretty high scope, something that's reflective of the time between the seasons that were between season 1 and season 2. But there's gonna be meat to sink your teeth into as well. All right. Since the game is inspired by Chrono Trigger, will the Ancient Era expansion have an Isla equivalent? I mean, there's I don't think a straight 1-to-1. I don't think you can quite draw a straight 1-to-1 there. But there's, you know, there's things that get inspired by it all the time. So, you know, I'd say there's like, you can make an argument for some of that, kinda. But if we're talking like a 1-to-1, just a hard, like, this is the new Isla, no, it's not gonna happen. Not like that. Sorry. All right, more questions. I don't die here. We fine? We're gonna be okay. We're just gonna tank all this dot. I added Crimson Shroud into the build recently, and I'm very pleased with it. We got some subs. We got some subs. We had a sub at the start too yet? Oh, I got all sorts of stuff happening. Our exclusive mind. Thank you for the sub at the start of the stream there that I missed at the beginning, and Avril. Thank you. Thanks to the sub. That's 2 years. Yep. Never sick of you. Don't worry. All right. More questions. When the fallen mages, when the fallen mages dies, they have an audio cue saying, "I will not go back," or "They will cage us all," or "I did nothing wrong," or more importantly, "The judges will come for you." Does this mean anything specific, like a teaser for something you guys are cooking on, for someone in a later season, or am I reading too much into it? I think it's sort of a nod to how they got there. The exiled mages, not the fallen mages, the exiled mages are like, they were imprisoned in these time prisons, and so they're like, they don't want to go back to prison. You know, like, they're sort of this like last like defiant shout before they die. It does leave room for some interesting stuff to happen in the future, I think, as well, but I don't think it's specifically teeing up a key, like there's, I don't think it's teeing up a specific follow-up, but it does leave room for you know, new stuff to happen. Taking it down. No problem. I think we're gonna be getting close to an Aberoth kill here pretty soon. Just gonna stand there. I'm not gonna do the mechanics. I'm just gonna stand there and tank. Mike, can you get into more what primordial uniques are and how they are different from uniques we already have? I can't. I'm sorry. There's mechanically like individual mechanics from like unique to unique. There's nothing that like directly links them all. Like that. Like it's not like they all have fire damage or something like that. You know, there's no like stat that links them all mechanically. Does the season have seasonal only content? There is stuff that is like new to the season, but everything's showing up to both seasonal and legacy at the same time. So if you don't want to play seasonal at all, you don't have to. You can play legacy and still get access to the same content. Good news? I got an idol. Yeah, I prepared this bit. I got 3 open ones. Yes. I'm even holding the idol that I got. I'm gonna try and enchant a little bit here. Yeah. We'll enchant it again later. Let's do one of these. Try and go down here. Couple pathways to get there. Do it. Let's do it. Let's try the draw queen at high corruption. Why not, right? This is one we haven't beaten yet. Do we do this at high corruption with our only version of it? Maybe not. Both of these. We gotta get to 300 to even do this one. Got stuff rolling in. Jesse 32. Gift the sub. Congrats. Congrats, Warden of Winter. Thank you very much. All right. What else are we gonna slap down? Let's just put some fun ones down. Why not? Go see what happens. And one of these. Why not, right? Do you know if you will be launching the Unity 6 engine upgrade before the season or along it or after? It'll be before. It'll be very, very, very soon for the Unity 6 engine update. Very, very, very soon. All right. Are there any plans for Weaver items to get a guaranteed, does not need to be T7, just rolls on it every time, like T2 plus Temporal Sanctum for LP? Are there any plans for Weaver items to get a guaranteed, like tier 2 plus? Oh, where you can like force a specific affix onto the Weaver item? No, we don't have anything like that planned at all. Guess he gifted more subs. And push, and I am Godor. Nice. Thank you very much for the subs, everybody. That's wonderful. Lots of them coming in. Gifting subs. All sorts of stuff. Congrats to anyone who got one of those. You just stop taking these like micro readjustments. It just kills the mana. Ooh, we should go up and do that. Go up here. Yeah. Go right for it. Never mind, we're not that tanky. All right, we got a ways to go still. It's okay. It's okay. Any social features to be introduced in game in season 3? Nothing major, really. We're looking at some social features that we want to add to the game. We don't have any big things to add in season 3 just yet, I don't think, on that front. Mostly content for the game. There's like some quality of life stuff and some UI stuff probably, but you know, like nothing like not like a full-on guild system or something like that joining the ranks yet. Yo, Mike the Great. Ooh. Another question: are there any secrets left in the game that are kind of like Wart's Leg Town Portal in Last Epoch? No, all of the Easter eggs and hidden secrets are discovered and recorded online. The most recent one, that's probably the least well-known one that I bring it up every time this question gets asked, I mention it. So maybe it's not that unknown at this point, but there is a way for you to bring the Spriggan from the Lightless Arbor dungeon into the End of Time. So he's standing like, not a perfect depiction of the zone, but like right here, I think would be the best way to put it. Where he's standing, and once you can get him to spawn there. Yeah, just to the bottom of the stairs into the lower level area. But that doesn't mean that there aren't more being added in at some point. Yeah. There's definitely pitches of secrets that they're sort of like, oh yeah, one day we'll get that added in. there's that weird secret that we're like, oh yeah, we've been making that joke internally for years now. We'll put that in at some point. There's a few of those things that are I'd keep an eye out for. Yeah, just a reiteration. If you have any questions, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question, or at Last Epoch on YouTube, so we know that you're looking for a direct answer from me. Good afternoon, Mike. Any chance we could get a text file for stash layout in the same way we can for filters? It would be awesome to copy from clipboard to see if any stash tabs organize themselves. Ah, yes, this would be great. We don't have anything like that at the moment. It is the sort of thing that I'd be really interested in doing. Whoa, that was close. But I think this will go alongside a bit of a stash update. You know, so it's something that would modify how we are allowing stash layouts to persist season to season, that sort of stuff. This would be the sort of thing that would go hand in hand with that sort of update, which is something we are working on. No ETA. Right. Hey Mike, was wondering if you guys were happy with the current power progression systems in the game and the discrepancy in gameplay archetypes. Yeah, I think it's something that is very difficult to nail down, and we are improving on it quite a bit. It's something that we've struggled with in the past, but I think it's really improving a lot lately. I mean, as soon as you have a system with so many options, there's always going to be some that are drastically superior to others, really. And you're always gonna have that situation where like, oh, I went in blind and tried to force build X and it just sucked. Or I went in blind and I tried to force build Y and it was amazing. And like that type of interaction is gonna happen kind of no matter what, because there's always gonna be certain builds where someone just stumbles onto the like amazing overpowered option that we always try and balance things such that that's the range between I would say like natural builds that are sort of like obvious to try, like a fireball mage and a sword and board full plate wearing melee type character, like having those like really core fantasy archetypes. Like in the naive approach where I said naive approach where you're like, so you go in blind and you're just like, I'm gonna pick the things that seem intuitive, that seem to work, and you're just like, okay, I'm playing a sword and board melee character, and I've got an ability that option to just give me more armor or more block. Like those are things that are obviously synergize well with what you're doing, and sometimes they're intuitively they seem better than they are. And I think in the situation where people are taking mostly just intuitive options, ideally there are not huge discrepancies in build quality there. I think that's really one of the more important sides of it to nail down. We've learned that we cannot tank all of the explosions from this nemesis. Gotta move a little bit. Got another passive point. Let's fix everything. I got 2. Oh my gosh. Yes, I am going to go look up where I should put them. I don't remember. Put them right here. Answer those. You guys ever thought about letting us control which champion we fight at the end of the arena somehow? It's kind of a letdown to fight through 50 waves, but then get the wrong champion for the prophecy necessary. I do think that there's, yeah, I'd like to see there be a way to maybe influence this, or even like some sort of like optional extra challenge where you just fight them all. Or where you can be like, challenge the next one, challenge the next one. You know, something like that would be cool maybe. It is pretty rare that those items, I think, are like full-on linchpins to builds. But you know, it definitely does happen. Are we safe? No, we're not safe at all. Oh, goodness me. So let Heartseeker go seek out some hearts. Nearest enemy must be over there somewhere. Okay, we're good. Quickly find something we like that we want to do. What do we like? What do we want to do? Ooh, lots of options there. That's the right one. Penance? Penance. But actually do it. Alright. What up, Mike? Seems like there's a lot of minion unique boots in the game. And while the next... And why are the next pair of souls of the abomination in season 3? Why are the next pair of souls of the abomination in season 3? I have no idea. What? What? Is this some item I don't know about? What? There are quite a few minion unique boots, I guess. I guess this is just like guessing at the name of one. Anyways, thanks to the subs. We got more subs. Master Sword. Oh my goodness. We just hit 50 months Master Sword. Wow. Is it the first 50? I think that's the first 50. That's incredible. If it's not the first, it's one of the first. I don't know. That's crazy. Apple G72, thank you for the 3 months as well. Appreciate you. Are there plans to add a little summary in each monolith map web that shows which prophecies that you currently have that can be fulfilled in that timeline? No, there's certain enemy spawns that are random, so you won't know for sure that it is possible to complete it or not. So any such list would be incomplete or possibly contain like wrong information. You wrote that wrong. There are not a lot. And can you make a new one called Souls of Nation? I am bad at jokes. It's quite all right. Sometimes I have issues where I think people are either like they'll mention an item in the game and I'm like, oh my god, did I just forget that item exists? Which is what just happened there. I'm like, did I forget that there's an item named this that exists? Or I think that someone's trying to pull a fast one and get some extra info out of what's coming. That was just, I thought I forgot something that existed. I don't think there are. I haven't seen any unique items around Abominations this patch. However, I should probably mention that we haven't really done any of the base uniques yet for this patch, so. If you do have an idea for a unique you'd like to see, there is still time for Season 3 uniques to be created, and you can put those in the suggestions channels on our Discord, and there's a chance we can just take one of those and use it. Right. Not really what we're looking for. That's okay. Season 3 new minion for Acolyte. No, I don't think so. The only new skill is not for Acolyte directly. It's for Acolyte, but not just for Acolyte. That's a terrible way of wording that. It's for an Acolyte mastery. Mike, how hard would it be to incorporate something like the Nemesis like system from Shadow of Mordor into Last Epoch? That is there's a really interesting, I won't go into details about it, but there's a really interesting set of legal issues around that system. Also saying here, I think something like that would be super cool when you fight major bosses or elites. Oh, not possible. Warner Bros. Trademarked system. I don't know if that's a note from Wick or not, but yes, it is not possible. Warner Bros. Did trademark that system. There's a whole there's like another game that was trying to make this. I don't know the details. You should go look it up because it's a cool story. But basically, that system's kind of off limits for anyone other than Warner Brothers to use in a game, and I think it's a really good example of something that should. I don't know, like this gets really tricky. I don't have a lot of information or understanding about the details of what happened behind the scenes with all this. But my I guess instinctual reaction to it is I wish things like that could just be automatically allowed to be used by anyone. It feels vague enough of an idea that it feels like copywriting a color from artists, being like, oh, artists can't use red anymore. And I know it's like a crazy oversimplification of it. And there probably are colors that are copywritten in some way. But like, it's one of those systems that it feels vague enough that I wish people could utilize more. And it's such a good system. I don't know if maybe they license it out or something. Really, I just want more games with it because yeah, it's good. It's really good. All right, hey Mike, any chance we could be seeing more unique staves with generic spell elemental damage because we don't currently have any? The bristle from my toothbrush I just pulled out of my mouth. It's weird. Unique staves with generic spell elemental damage. Do we really not have... I mean, it's kind of in the base, but I guess there's not really anything... Not generic. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That is interesting. I think there's room for something there. I'm just looking through staves right now. I should probably do this on screen instead of just off screen. I think you bring up a good point. There are a lot of... I think there are certain subtypes that, like, for example, one-headed mace. There's only 5 unique one-headed maces in the... Actually, only 4. There's only 4 unique one-headed maces in the game right now. I've got 2 that I've been working on pitches for. Let's not die in this fight. Trying to answer a question at the same time though. We can't use the egg on Steam Deck except using trackpads as mouse. Any fix coming for season 3? I just don't use the mechanic. Yes, there is a fix for this coming season 3. It is possible, yes, by using the trackpad to do this right now, but we know that's not convenient enough and not intuitive enough for players in general, and something that needs to be done with pure controller inputs. We are working on this. It will be fixed in season 3. It sounded very robotic, but I'm just trying not to die here. I think there's some spell damage. Intelligence is a lot of spell damage usually. One. D7 crit multi on that one. Any plans to improve the controller experience, especially when navigating through the menus and build? Yeah, so this is a good follow-up to the last question. Yeah, the controller, we're working on controller experience on sort of 2 primary vectors right now. One of them being just improving on the input targeting that we introduced last in season 2. That overall went very well, but you know, there's certain abilities that weren't targeting quite perfectly. Get new scenario detection for those, so you're improving that detection, that moment-to-moment gameplay action for controller, and then also in menus, so improving like which options are available when, which hotkeys are available when, all of those things, and like the context of different situations. So, like when you open up certain menus, having like the button options you have restrict, and like so changing the function based on the scenario you're in, like context-specific input. For just more versatile options, and yeah, that is the UI is one of the main places we're looking at improving the controller experience right now, and yes, we are actively working on that. Are we getting the lizard lair in season 3? I have no idea what that is. That doesn't look like anything to me. What? Huh? I think it would be great to have auto loot for glyphs, runes, keys, and affixes. Yeah, I think that's it's something that gets requested a fair bit. I don't think I agree with you on that, but it's like not a topic that I think everyone's ever going to agree on. Let's go ahead. Let's drop some stuff off. And then let's just go ahead and try and fight a boss and see what happens. Right? What's the worst that can happen? And a Harbinger. Let's go. Are we ever going to see socketables? This is an interesting one. This question gets brought up just about every week. I think there's a lot of room for socketables. But I don't know the best way to put them in the game yet. Yeah, good job, Mike. Put a portal right in the middle of the map. That's a good idea. Come on. Can we survive one of these slams? I think we can, but I don't know if we can survive like a big slam. But we're not gonna have to find out. Ow. Oh, no, no. Yep, I know I can't survive that. I think I can survive everything else, though. And that's the only thing we actually have to move for. Wonderful. Wonderful. Would you look at that? A little hairy at the end there. I wasn't sure it was gonna work out. I do think we need the health still. Idle, Glyph of Envy. Not great. I mean, neat, but not quite what we're looking for. Right. Let's keep this rolling. We're gonna try and bump up that corruption a little higher even. We're gonna try and bump it up. We'll see what happens. All right. Are we ever gonna see socketables? Yeah, so socketables are, sorry, I got derailed a little bit with the boss fight. Socketables is an interesting, kind of an interesting question about, is it different from our current crafting system? This belt has an empty socket in it. I'm gonna put in a, I don't know, a throwing damage. This actually is a belt we want to use, really. I'm gonna put in a throwing damage shard into the sockets in this belt. Great, I've just put that throwing damage socket in this, you know, like, so it's, what's the difference really? Like, items have 4 sockets, you can put things in those sockets. There's like secret hidden sockets with the, you know, and it's tricky to sort of like define where the line between sockets and just our regular affix system is like delineated. And a few times we've considered like having a socket affix that actually like uses one of the affix slots to be a socket that can have something, another item put into it, just the way a regular socket system works. We've done a few things like this where it's where having sockets added to items is a thing we've considered, and I think there's probably a way to do it. Exactly what that looks like, I don't know. Whether it's like part of the implicits maybe is a way to do it. Maybe it's part of like a specific mechanic where there's certain items have sockets in them. Maybe it's more of a like an enchantment style system and it's not really explicitly a socket, but and theming it more like an enchantment, and only certain item types can have enchantments possibly. There's lots of different ways you can kind of have very similar functional mechanics. And still leverage that theming as well, but not have it be exactly what you're probably imagining when you think of a socket system. Like we're talking like just D2 gems and runes. Hey Mike, can we get a map where you leverage the camera zoom out the same way you do in the Shattered Road? Would be awesome to see a super zoomed out battle while fighting hordes. This is a very controversial thing because we actually do zoom the camera out in the Aberoth fight a little bit. And you know, like getting that bigger view space or the bigger battlefield we get a fair bit of feedback around too much camera movement, and so it kind of has to be that size for like the whole zone. It's tricky. I think it would kind of require an almost like a bigger co-op experience to warrant doing that. It would be fun. I think it'd be cool. As someone who the camera zoom changes don't bother at all, I'd love it. But I am also sympathetic to people who it does bother. So yeah, maybe. On the note of spell from Gathering Storm, any chance we could have its targeting automated similar to Smite? Because it's surprisingly easy to just miss with it. It should be exactly the same as Smite, I would think. I can't look that up right now, can I? I feel like it should be, because it's targeting enemies. Am I crazy? We're talking about like the storm stacks that come off and zap a storm bolt. Every second you expend a storm stack to cause a storm bolt to strike a nearby enemy. Yeah, that should be auto targeting and smart targeting. Right? That sounds like a bug to me. If it's not doing what it seems like it should be doing there, please report that bad boy. Should add a note in forged weapons that allow them to use Warpath. having minions, and I know the but what about at the end of the sentence? Don't worry. Having minions or enemies in general use channeled abilities like that, especially player modified channeled abilities, is so brutal. It just doesn't really work. And the obvious thing is like, well, echoes, you can echo a warpath, and that's actually like an entirely different ability. So we could use the echo warpath to get them to like kind of activate that temporarily for a second. But having that actually function properly with the player's ability tree for warpath is bad. Yeah, Wick sounds good. Okay, so I do have one little teaser review for you today. Here we go. Little bundle of good stuff there. Wonder what that could be. Last stream you brought up how Diablo has more equipment slots for set items. This made me realize, are you guys considering set idols? Idols that are set items / part of a set. Yeah, it's been brought up a few times internally. There aren't any that are currently being designed right now. But yeah, I think it's an interesting way to add more set items to a set. It is a little tricky because there's so many slots in the so like you can equip multiple of the same set item, and you can do that a little bit with rings already anyways, and with swords, having two one-handed swords and something like that. But it's something we try to avoid being possible as much as we can. And yeah, it might be kind of weird to have like a lot of it would have to be in the set bonus, I think. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Having set bonuses be really desirable is, I think, is fine as long as there's multiple ways to achieve that set bonus. Right. More misshapen remains. So many misshapen remains. All the misshapen remains. right. Has an items shared in the suggestions feedback has been created? Like, have we ever taken something from the suggestions channel and made an actual item out of it? Yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness, I did it again. Sorry, my bad. At least it wasn't anything interesting. Have we ever taken an item from a suggestions channel and actually implemented it in game? Yes, we definitely have. Which one? Off the top of my head, I have no idea. I know there's some that we've like. Sometimes it's the simple as like sort of the basis of an idea, where it'll be like, oh, I want to make this sword that does these 5 things, and then we're like, we'll look at the idea sometimes and say like, what problem is this idea trying to solve, and can we, maybe the idea doesn't work, but can we solve that problem another way? And so sometimes the final end result will be completely unrecognizable from the original suggestion, but it did come from it in the first place. That's right, we're tanking. Little charm. I should have clarified. I'm specifically referring to converting Gathering Storm into a ranged skill while wielding a staff. Ah, my bad. It seems like it acts like a ground targeted AoE skill as opposed to targeted from any within the area. Yes, that then it is working as intended. It is supposed to be a manually targeted ability at that point. Having that auto target, I think that could be something that you like put on a unique or something like that, like make a unique staff that's like bonus spell damage and auto targets, like forces the Gathering Storm to be converted and auto targets or something like that. I think that's the best place you put something like that if we were gonna do it. Before 1.2 came out, you mentioned you were working on 1.3 features. Does this still hold true with someone working on 1.4 already, or was this or was it a consequence of 1.2 taking extra long to come out? Yeah, there's people working on stuff in the future. Like there's multiple stages of content we're working on in the future. So there's stuff that we're working on for next season. There's stuff we're working on for after that. There's stuff that gets worked on as just like we don't know what season this is going to go into yet. And it's just so like here's a feature we have to put in the game and we got to get in as soon as we can, but we know it's going to take 6 months to do this at least. Let's just start working on it now and see what the first patch we can get involved in the game is, sort of thing. So maybe that gets roadblocked or reprioritized and it ends up being like 3 patches in the future, sort of thing. So like there's it's kind of a hard question to answer. So there are definitely things that we are working on that we intend to go in the next season after season 3, and that things that are being worked on that we don't expect to even make it into that, but we expect to make it into the one after that type thing. So yeah, we're definitely looking towards the future and trying to make it so we have fun and interesting content to come out for years, sort of thing. Like this is what we're building that. We're always updating and improving the pipeline that we develop the game through, and part of that improvements lately especially has been more forward thinking, so we can have big stuff come out frequently. You could put a ring and try and farm red rings from the imprints. It's a pretty long shot though. Are you going to add necrotic damage to the mage? Very unlikely. Not in season 3, I'll tell you that for sure. We really like having specific classes have specific elements that they're really good at interacting with, and having like strong theming around those. So like you go into and you can see that theming pretty clearly here. Like physical, there's physical nodes directly in the tree. I do bleed. Surprisingly little bleed in here, but like there's bleed in each one of these trees. There's stuff about bleed everywhere. But then we go to like frostbite, and there's, I'm assuming, nothing. Yeah. And shock, there's probably nothing as well. Oh, there's a shock node there. So yeah, like 1 2-pointer that doesn't even scale, you know. So like there's these primary and secondary themes that go with each class, and different elements that are sort of like deliberately stronger in different classes. And if we start adding too many conversions to too many different classes, then the theming that we're kind of directing players on when they come into the passives especially gets very muddled. And you can see this as well when you look at this here. There's like physical. There's lots of physical options here. And there's quite a few fire options in and around here as well. And there's quite a few poison options, not a ton, but a few. And there's a few cold options, not a ton, but a few. And there's a few lightning options, not a ton, but a few. But there's no necrotic options. There's no void options. And I'm specifically talking about rogue here and not mage, which is the question was about, but it's just easier to illustrate the rogue one because that's what I'm playing on. And so these core elemental themes that run throughout the class are things that we really want to maintain for that class. And so when we do add in like off class elemental themes, it almost always comes in the form of an item, which is why you have the, like when you want to do void damage on a mage, you can a little bit if you do it through some specific item combinations. So it's kind of like that, and I use this term as a magic term, you're breaking that color pie, breaking the elemental pie, breaking the class pie, I don't know what you want to call it in last Epoch. But when you see like a mono black counterspell in Magic, it's like it's a thing. It can exist, kinda. But it's very rare, and usually with some sort of twist. This is not really heavily supported by the other effects, so it needs to stand on its own. Yeah. All right, blessing system. There are so many oh, sorry. I just want to touch one more thing as well. I think that if you do see a new major elemental addition to an existing class, I think it's most likely to happen in the form of a new mastery getting added to that class, like a fourth mastery. Like if we're adding in a necrotic mage, we're not doing that. But if we were adding a necrotic mage, we'd add I'm like, what would you call a necrotic mage? Like there's a cryomancer and a pyromancer. It would be a necromancer. Shoot. So yeah, we're probably not looking that direction for mage. But if we were, that's like how we would probably do it. I can't believe I didn't see that necromancer naming in my head before I started talking. Right, more subs. Love it. Skylar Ellie. I feel like I recognize that name. But it says first sub. Appreciate you. Thanks very much. Maybe ask questions in the past or something. Either way, glad to have you here. Welcome aboard. Lots of questions here. I am a little slow on the questions today, but I will do my best to answer as many as I can. Keep asking them. Looking great in chat today. Blessing system. There are so many blessings that are not useful. It's just the same 4 in every build. Oh, that question's gone. Bring me my question back. I think basically the question is about there's not enough variety in blessings, or maybe there's a few blessings that are too strong. Are you considering adding more useful blessings? No worries, sick. Whew, almost sneezed there. Are you considering adding more useful blessings in timelines that have nothing great? Yeah, I think rebalancing the blessing options and the timeline completion order and shake up in the monolith timelines layouts in general, that sort of stuff is something that we've long anticipated doing. I've talked about that on stream before in the past as like a sort of an intentional way we have to shake up the system in future patches. I don't know how soon it's going to be before we see a major change there. But having, buffs and nerfs to specific blessings, maybe some that are just too strong, some that are too weak. I think a lot of what's good in the blessings category can be influenced by what other abilities are good. So like, you add a new ability that's like, that's really focused around a scaling, I don't know, uncapped fire resistance. And suddenly the fire resistance blessing becomes way better because it's just like, oh, you can get more fire resistance, get it. So I think they'll naturally become better and worse based on what else is available. But yeah, I think there's some generically pretty powerful ones that have been classically quite powerful. And maybe they need a nerf, maybe the other ones need a buff, maybe there's new ones that need to be added in. One thing that's clear is that we won't ever contaminate the magic find options. So the versions that what is going here? Wasn't that on the other side? Are they both on the same side? What is going on here? Okay, it's fine. We won't ever contaminate the magic find versions with power versions. So like, if there's a version which if there's a blessing pool that has like more helmets found and more rings found as options, we'd never put in plus 10 strength as an option in that same pool. Do you sometimes look back to where it all started and think about what happened in all this time? What's your favorite funniest memory? Oh my goodness, yes, all the time I do. I have the original Reddit post saved. I look back at different like old versions of the games. I was recently clearing out an old Google Drive and came across some like original builds of like versions that were never released, like pre-Kickstarter builds that were never released. I loaded one up and it was so bad. Like it was good for the time. It was good for like what we were doing and all that sort of stuff. But like compared to now, it's amazing that everyone had enough faith in us to get this far. I appreciate everyone who did. But yes, I think about things like this all the time, and like crazy stories. There was a feature. It was implementing the blessings. It was getting the blessings implemented. We were like, we had like 36 hours until we had to have a build ready that needed to include the blessings, and like over half of them still hadn't been implemented yet. We'd like just finished deciding what they were going to be. I stumbled over the original Google Sheets document we used to make them all, and the formulas for there's this big grid on the chances of how many you're seeing in each blessing reward view. Like when you finish them, like you're presented with 3 by default, but you can get up to 5, and like the chances of not seeing a specific one you're looking for after how many runs, and that graph was in there. And yeah, that was a series of like 2 all-nighters in a row, I think, to get that patch ready. Yeah, that was fun. I don't know, it was great. That was the Wild West days of development for this game. back when we didn't really have much in the way of version control. We had like version control, but not like, there weren't many rules on it, so like anyone could just push to main, which means it's just like code for like people could just put whatever they wanted in the game without having reviewed or checked or tested or anything like that. And there was this like, there was a few of us that it was kind of a running joke that someone would just show up to the stand-up meeting with something they did last night. They're just like, I couldn't sleep and I implemented something. And you just wake up and this like new feature is just like on main, and everyone's like, okay, I guess we're adding this to the game. I love that. That was a good time. I really love the different stages of development that the game's gone through. and seeing that evolution and being part of that evolution has been really really special. All right, any word on pausing for online characters? No, unfortunately we don't have that functioning at the moment. It is something we're working on. I really hope to get it in at some point. It would be amazing. It's one of the, I think that's one of the best quality of life features that a game can have. It's just being able to pause it, which just seems so ridiculous. And I'm always like harking back to like you're playing a game as a kid and your parents are like pause that, come to dinner. You're like, you can't pause this game. Like when like you first started playing, I was playing Guild Wars, I think it was. And you don't understand, Mom, you can't pause it. And like does no concept of what the game is, all this sort of stuff. Like, of course you can pause it, and then just like walks over and like turns off the TV or something. And she's like, see, pause, and you're like, no. Yeah, anyways, pausing rules. All right. I'm like, can the character slot limit from 25 be increased up to the time when season 3 starts? Thanks in advance. Probably not. I hope so. I've asked for it a few times recently. I'm not sure why it's not being updated right now, but I would like it to. Put it in the suggestions channel on Discord. It'd be the best way to get that to happen. I wanted to make cold skilly mages with the Blight of Lacus and the Lich's Scorn set item. But I was saddened to see that the staff was two-handed and wasn't able to equip the Lich's Scorn Catalyst. Will Acolyte be able to equip a Catalyst and a two-handed weapon in Season 3? No, sorry. Hey Mike, hope you are well. I am. It's great. LE's the only ARPG giving me the same satisfaction of D2 did 20 years ago. That is about the highest praise you can give me right now, so thank you. Keep up the good work. Any chance to get an easier overview for the monolith's unique item type nodes? As someone with bad memory has to check most of the time every item I want to farm something. Yeah, I think that's having better access to information like that is really important. And this is something we considered putting when we added this. We considered actually adding that information here, and we were just trying to keep this information digestible, so it's not in there. But I would like to see that more, maybe in the timeline selection window or something, or like an alt tool to like maybe it would be good. Here's an idea we were talking about earlier about wanting to know what sorts of prophecies could be completed in each echo type thing, but having maybe a pop-up or like a tooltip or something that showed more information about this would be a good idea, because there are specific enemy types that spawn in each timeline. So like the enemies that you see spawn in the Black Sun will be different enemies than you see in the Fall of the Empire. So having a little more information there available with like tooltips, I think would be a good way to solve that. Fuzzy in chat, pausing when interacting with Nemesis eggs would be pretty nice. Yup, it sure would, as we just saw me struggle with that earlier today. All right. Follow-up answer you gave earlier, but larger group content would be awesome. I typically play with 6 to 8 other players, and it would be great to get everyone involved. Yeah, part of this is an architecture problem a little bit too. Like just making sure the game runs smooth and having that like everything still function nicely. Getting we in testing we have tried, and this was earlier on when the optimization wasn't as good, and we were deciding what the maximum party size was going to be, that sort of thing. We're trying to decide what can we reasonably expect to like get performance wise out of certain things. You know, it would be really nice to be able to that was close. Yep, sweet. Never doubted it for a second. No big deal. Totally thought I was dead. Yeah. All right, could we see a damage type like Arcane, or a set of skill MTX would be amazing. The one you guys already implemented is amazing. I need more. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, we are doing more. More skill MTX is coming. Definitely, that's something that's going to be included in every major content. Every season you'll see new stuff in basically every category here, I think. I mean, maybe one will get left out here or there, but like definitely skills will be getting some. We know that there's lots of skills still in the game that have no cosmetic changes to them that lots of people want there to be cosmetic changes to. So yeah, we're still working on all that. It's lots more coming down the pipe. Yeah. Was there a second part of that? Yeah. While each season comes to Legacy currently, is that your personal preference for the future, or would you like to see seasonal exclusive content down the line? I would like to see some seasonal exclusive content down the line. I think that there's room for that type of stuff to show up in the game now that we've got sort of like enough stuff to do. Well, as of season 3, I think we'll have enough stuff to do that we could pretty easily put seasonal exclusive content into the game and not have it feel bad, basically. Nice. We're gonna be upgrading the 1 LP Dragon Song. Grumble, grumble, grumble. But yes, we're gonna be upgrading our amulet here. Yes, give me that amulet. Yeah, I would like to see some season exclusive content. I'd really like to see like challenges that you can complete that you can earn certain like cosmetics and that sort of thing, that maybe by interacting with seasonal mechanics. I would really like to make sure that if we do start doing stuff like that, it is like either stuff that's planned to be rolled in, either it's planned to be like rolled into standard in the future, or possibly at least it's not the entire season that's done that way. So maybe it's like there's like 3 main systems that are coming in the season, and 2 of them are for everyone, and 1 of them is like an extra thing for seasonal characters or something like that. I think that might be cool. And maybe the extra thing is the thing that goes away at the end, or maybe it's that the season shows up. I think there's lots of options here. I don't think there's one specific answer, but I think that, yeah, so if there's like content shows up, it's seasonal content, it's for everyone, it's for legacy characters, everyone gets to play with it, but then when the season ends, it vanishes for everyone. That might be another way to do it. So you don't necessarily have to start a seasonal character, but it's not something that's going to persist long term. And the big advantage to that is that it cuts out the power creep a little bit. So you're like, okay, well, yeah, we're giving a bunch of power with the system, and we're going to take that power out as soon as the season ends. And it leaves room for other systems to come in and give more power. Which is nice, because there's lots of times where we're like, oh, I want to add this, do this cool thing, and everyone's looking around being like, I mean, we're going to need to condense, we're going to need to do a number condensing soon, aren't we, if we do this? Gloves? Gloves. Yes! Give me that warpath. Playing righteous fire. That's how you do it. Oh my goodness! Did we get a split? Is that what happened there? I think we got a split. Oh, there's a big one there. Don't go. What do we got? Not for me, unfortunately. Cool item, but not for me. All right, I got to answer more of these questions here. I'm getting behind. Red ring is already so unfrequent. I think it's like already so rare. Why make it extra hard to get an LP? It's just very frustrating. I feel like the game isn't respecting my time at all. I think there's a there's probably like an expectations disconnect here. So the legendary system, one of the main parts of the legendary system, is designed to give lower power uniques a chance to exist in the ecosystem, where it's a legitimate choice to build a lower level unique item into a build because it has some cool unique effect, without us just making a high level version of that unique item. So we can create items that are fun to play while leveling, and then you can slap a high tier exalted on it, and it creates kind of almost like a new item to play with, like a second version of that item, like an end game version of that item to play with later on in the game. Red Ring is an example of an item that is incredibly powerful, and therefore doesn't need any help to become incredibly powerful. So the chances of it getting LP is very low to balance that out. Having it be, this is one of the big debates that we do come across is the question is having potential LP for items that is not reasonable to obtain, like 3, 4 LP on an item, is that, like, having that be just completely unreasonable to even try and get? Is there any reason for that to exist as a possibility in the game? And it's sort of those, like, oh my god moments of, like, how it could happen. Enough people playing long enough, eventually someone's going to get one of those, and it's going to be incredible. And it also keeps it, the system is simpler to understand if you know that any item follows the exact same rules. But I think the problem here is not about not respecting your time, but maybe just giving clear expectations on what's possible. So getting the information that like a 2 LP red ring is unbelievably difficult to get, having that information be a little bit more clear might be the problem. There's something in my eye. Could we ever see a damage type like Arcane? All right, answer this a little bit. Yes, Arcane. So I think that like Arcane is unlikely to be a new damage type added to the game. Just in general, it's very unlikely for us to add another damage type to the game. We already have quite a few. And as you get more and more resistance types, it does increase that complexity of the system in general. And I think we're pretty pleased overall with the amount of elements that are in the game. 7's a fair bit. It's not a ton, but it's a fair bit. You add Arcane, it's an 8th resistance to manage. I think it's more likely that we would take that theming and try and work it in. Like we do holy damage as either fire or lightning or some combination therein. People asking for the build that I'm playing as? Sure. This is pretty recent. Yeah, this is pretty recent. There you go. Could we ever see this? Are there any current ideas being passed around about possibly having a raid type mechanic in the game? Oh, it was requested on YouTube. I put it in Twitch. Can you put it there for me? I don't have that chat open because it doesn't open in Streamlabs. Nice. Womp womp. Are there any current ideas being passed around about possibly having a raid type mechanic in the game? Like bringing in an uber boss, having 5 people playing together to beat the crap out of the super uber boss. Yeah, that's something that we've talked about. It's not something that we are actively implementing at the moment. We've sort of long held this idea that we wanted most of the content, or possibly up until now all the content, to be completable single player. And so like a system like that kind of comes with the question of, do you put in like bots to fight with you if you can't have a full team? And I think a lot of the fun part about doing a big raid boss like that is the mechanics you can leverage in there and the coordination that it requires you to actually complete the fight, where like, okay, well there's these six tiles and you gotta put someone on each one of them, or there's, you know, 3 people have to be, you have to split the raid evenly between these 2 sides so that it does this other thing, or, you know, like everyone's got to stand on one side then jump to the other side. You know, having these coordination things that happen, I think is one of the, for me at least, it's one of the really interesting parts about raid boss mechanics. Yes. Can we get a lightning conversion node for Warpath? Very unlikely, but not impossible. It's a secondary element for Paladin specifically, and because it's a Sentinel base skill, and it already has, you know, physical void and fire theming heavy stuff there. I think it's unlikely that we would see a lightning one, but it's possible. It's the next most obvious one. Like, you're not going to see necrotic or poison or cold. So it's the next. If we're gonna get another one, it's probably the next one, but I don't. It's not being worked on. Love LE, best game period in this genre. Wow, thank you. Ever consider adding greater rift timing sort of endgame? Yes, we've definitely considered that. Timed content is really interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of this is a really deep topic, and it's something we've debated quite a few times. There's a lot of really good positives and negatives to it. We don't have anything planned about it right now. I'd really like to see it in a dungeon. That's where I'd like to see it. Yeah. All right. Can you share or estimate whether this patch has a larger number of passives or balance changes compared to earlier patches? I'd say it has less than season 2. We're also not done yet, so I don't know. Season 2 is a big one as well. Pretty similar though, in the same range as what a lot of them for a long time in the 4-month range were before. I've noticed the addition of more on-death effects this season, and I'm curious as to the design choice, as myself and most players I know really don't like this type of feature. Have we added that many more? I feel like it's the same. I don't know, I think it's the exact same number. Of like rare affixes, you get the revive. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's a lot that have been added more. I don't think there's any intentional like surge to add more of them really. Ow, my face. Come on. Just drop me a potion. Do it. You know you wanted to before you died. Let's just get to it. Goat class confirmed? No, sorry. Hey Mike, hope you're doing well. I am, thank you. The sub-skill tooltip for Net Trap in Net says that it explodes and has an added damage effectiveness of 600% for the explosion. It doesn't explode and only has an added damage effectiveness of 100%. Is this node bugged or is the tooltip just incorrect? Let's find out where that tooltip is. Net. Where am I? Net's down here. Trap. This probably is what it's saying. Okay, yeah. Okay, the text that's written on this at the bottom is not generated from the ability object. It is manually typed in. So it is possible that it was typed in and then changed. So I would not trust this text. Yeah. I'm not sure where you're getting that 100 from, but it's probably right. The tooltip's just incorrect, I think. That's my guess. Could I please have a shade to fight? That would be wonderful. All right. When can we expect the bug where you can't see your friends online fixed? It's annoying to have to log in and log out just to try and send someone an invite. Please fix. Can you message? I don't know. I don't have any specific details on timing for fixes of bugs. Hopefully very soon. I know we just changed over a bunch of stuff with how the backbone of that whole system again. So I don't know if you've tried really recently. Possibly it's fixed. You might be able to direct whisper them. So you might be able to just like open chat /w, type their username and whisper them directly that way, and then invite them from that without having to actually have them show up on your friends list. Might be a workaround. Hello, I can't find any information about the search functions in Help tab for searching stash with things like LP0 or operators. Am I blind or if there are no, do you plan to add some tips? That system got added in. That was a very sudden, hey, this is in the game now system, sort of out of nowhere. And yeah, we didn't add any documentation around that to the game guide. I would like to see more information added on that. I don't know if it's planned or not for the next season. Part of the reason why it didn't get added in probably for season 2 was because the system got put in the middle of the patch, in the hotfix sort of season, and wouldn't have had a chance to go through translation, localization. Are you happy with how the resonance system landed, and do you have any thoughts and improvements there? I mean, it's still, I think overall it's good. I think that I still think it's bugged on the chance. I don't think it's right, because I have only played with one person outside of I've only partied. This character has only partied with one other person this season, and I've never seen one of the good resonances yet. And like, we haven't played a ton, but like, it's enough that like, what's going on, sort of thing. And I know it's just like anecdotal evidence that it's not enough for one thing. Maybe we missed it, yada yada yada. But it still doesn't feel right. It feels like there's something wrong there. It feels like there's it doesn't feel like it's doing the job it's supposed to do yet. I don't know what's wrong with it or what needs to change to make that happen, but it really doesn't feel like it's doing the job it's supposed to do yet. I think it's mostly just a numbers issue. Really? Really? Alright, I really like the design of the Shade of Orbis enemy. It would be very cool to see a pinnacle version of this boss. Even with more tricky and stronger mechanics to deal with, maybe between Abby and Uberoth in terms of difficulty. What do you think? I mean, I think the natural evolution of the Shade of Orbis is to eventually fight Orbis themselves. I think it's a more likely next step. We'll see that. We did also put the there's the woven echo that spawns in a whole bunch of the shades back to back to back as well, which kind of is like a harder version. Hi Mike, a chronicler class win. Where's is that? Like it's a new base class chronicler? What are the masteries that go with it? If it's a mastery, which base class does it go on? These are important questions. I love being able to just stand still. Is this an arena class? Is that what this is? Do I have an arena character? It feels like a game of chicken. Like, do I move and lose a whole bunch of my offense and defensive capabilities? And possibly just die to some ground AoE? Oh, and see there, when it pushed me, that counts as movement, and I lose all the stuff anyway. So I need to get used to when it pushes me to actually take a little run and reposition. Oh, good timing, Mike. Way to go there. Lots of cool uniques there. Uniques, exalted. I know what things are. Don't tell me what words are. I have no idea if this is gonna be a chronicler class. Probably not one of the top of the list. Possessed enemies have interesting mechanics, but can we have a visual indicator to know what they are possessed with, in order to know which ones can fire a sudden zigzagging projectile to be prepared? At the moment, it doesn't feel very fair. Does it not? On the when you mouse over them, like the health bar you get at the top, does that not show? Can I trigger one? Really? Yeah, this health bar here. It should say what it gets from the possession there, I think, which I know is tricky to get to come up in some situations and hard to read. If it doesn't, it should. Hi Mike, will you add a server-wide event after selling a specific item to the vendor in the future, like selling stone Jordans in D2? Would love to. I love this idea of like of community-wide meta events that happen. I think it's brilliant, and I think it's something that we really should be looking to utilize more. I really hope so. There's nothing planned specifically for season 3 like this, but I would absolutely love to. The first, I still remember, I don't know if this is the first time or not, but I still remember a few of the early like times where you see like Diablo walks the earth, and you're like, but I'm in the middle of a tomb. And you're like, you got to figure out how to deal with this. I mean, like most people say, we're just spawning it in cold plains. Cold plains? Wherever. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I think that's the sort of mechanic that works really well in an ARPG and is fantastic for the community. I'd love to see more of it. Here we are. Who is your favorite commander in EDH? Who? Like 8 answers to this. Mizzix has been my go-to boy for a long time, and no, Wick, we don't. Mizzix has been my go-to boy for a long time. Vivi just came out and is like taking the spot there, I think, because my favorite Final Fantasy IX character. But at the same time, it's so strong, and everyone's just building it, and I hate doing that, but. You know, it's one of those things that when they announce the set, I'm like, I'm building Vivi. I don't care what it is, I'm building it before they even announce a single card for the set. And it's already basically a CDH deck, so we'll just roll with it probably. Favorite overall is probably the original Athreos. It's just so reliable. But I've really been having a lot of fun with Ivy as an Auras deck recently, and Miss Bubbleflower I love. So, you in there.
That was close.
The last added unique for Shaman skill was in 084. Really? You said you would look into this. Any update on a unique for Shaman skill in season 3? I don't have any specifics on upcoming uniques, but we haven't designed them all yet, and I'll try and make one for you. I got a note here from Wick about Massacre Girl and Revel and Riches combo. Yes, wonderful combo as well. Massacre Girl being the natural extension of Massacre Worm. Alright, any chance we can see the health of our minions? Does not matter if it's on the frame bar above the head, whatever you want. I just want to know their life totals. Oh, like the specific number? I don't think we have anything like that planned. See the specific number. I know you can you see the health bar, like the percentage effectively, but not the actual amount. Yeah, let's just go right for one. We can do it. We can do it. Why am I running around? Am I standing it? You going down, buddy? Not getting as much armor shred as I expected. Capping out around 80. But we're doing okay, yeah. We're tanking. We can handle higher corruption. This is great. Fantastic. Is it this? Oh. Did I just find an amazing item to slap onto the amulet I just found earlier? Yes. Yes, I did. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not T7, which would be nice, but still T6 with health on there. Let's go make that. Seems like a good time to me. Ah, what am I doing? Let's do this properly. Here we go. Easy. All right, piggybacking on the previous LP question, I was looking at the critical success rates on Tongue recently for Sanctum and noticed most of the items with decent crit chance had an LPL where you wouldn't need or notice it due to getting higher LP on them more frequently, which then reduces the crit chance. Have you discussed possibly tuning these values to outright decoupling from LPL to be more impactful? The crit chance for LPL rolling is so small that it's not really meant to be I almost wish it was something we never told anyone about, and just like when it happened, it was sort of like speaking like, did a bug just happen sort of thing, and that's kind of what we did tell people, is we didn't want people to think there was a bug happening. But it's such a small chance that we don't want it to be something that people plan for or play around or go into expecting or anything like that. It's a happy extra when it happens that you can maybe get excited about, but it's really not something that you should be planning for or hoping for. Yeah, It's very low chance, and that's intentional. That's not something we're really planning on changing. Will Season 3 have all maps, terrains, and areas aligned properly for WASD gameplay? I'm not going to promise every single one of them, because there's one outlier. All right, any plans to add any system to capture and use monsters in battle? Like Pokemon? No, we're not going to do that. We don't have a strong legal team. Well, we have a very appropriately strong legal team for our needs, but nothing that could protect us from that. Our legal team's great. Didn't mean to apply otherwise, but not used to going up against Nintendo. I don't want them to. All right, let's go straight to the boss. Let's do tier 3 because I want to succeed. Do you think about improving idle filters for COF? I've almost perfect idols, and the only improvement is the perfect idols, but now I have to check every idol to see the affix values. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. We're still working on roll range filtering as like if we're gonna do it and how we're gonna do it. They don't have tiers, which is the big thing holding them back from being filterable nicely with the current system. We're not going to add tiers to them because they don't function in the current crafting system, and we don't want them to. So it's kind of this like round and round you go and logic of trying to like what's the best way to fix the situation, because it is an issue. And I don't think I don't have a specific solution to share with you right now, but it is something that we're trying to work out the best way to handle. Okay, here we go. Trying to get some damage. Very nice. We even could have done tier 4 there. Should we try tier 4 next time? We should. All right. Swine. Swine. Let's change this to something else. Let's what's the next best thing we could put on here that we don't really want, but if we get, it's not the end of the world. Frailty? Do we have frailty chance anywhere else? Don't think we actually have frailty chance anywhere right now. That would be great. Ellie Res would be fine too, so we can pull that off other places. I can go with frailty. Biz damage, not ideal. Necrotic damage, really not ideal. All right. Let's hope we don't get ruined. Pick this. All right. Don't know if you've ever done that, but what about take another item from your team and stream? Take another one from your team and stream him together, like the UI guy or such stuff. Oh, sorry. So you're like have a guest on. Yes, definitely want to do that. Next week we'll be out. No stream next week. Week after that will be someone else filling in for me. That they'll have a different take on things. You're welcome to ask them all sorts of questions. That'll be great. And then yeah, we are looking to get more. We've done 2D artist. We've done sound designer. We've done lore master. But yeah, I think UI would be good. I think I'll ask the UI person, one of the UI people, see if they want to come on. Yeah, love the idea. You mentioned eventual new ascensions on stream at one point. Are void and necrotic damage a priority to add so they aren't just limited to a single class? Yeah, I think there's adding new masteries. I think it is natural to add in the like focused around elements that are less represented on the whole in general. Yeah, I think that's natural. Just because if you were to add in, it's also really easy to get really strong theming out of something like that as well. So yeah, adding in void to another class is like adding in void to rogue or acolyte or mage or primalist. Probably the least likely one for void to go on. But you know, if we were to add one in onto one of those classes, I think it does open up a lot of options, because so far most of the void options are limited to void knight. A little bit in other masteries on Sentinel, and a little bit with mage stuff with some items, but that's kind of it. I know a lot of people thought Warlock was going to be void related, and that was an option we considered at one point. Yeah, I think we're more interested in adding necrotic in void to something than necrotic right now. Look at that. Look at that. That's a big upgrade. Lost 5 all res, which is not great. Oh no, we gained 5 all res. I'm going the wrong way. Hey, even better. Lost a little bit of damage. Still nice. Implicit flip-flopped around a little bit. So what's our resistances look like? Physicals struggling a bit. Fire's really far over. Glad we didn't put elemental on there. Very pleased though. Oh, we got this up to 296, 298. Doing pretty good. Hey Mike, you have a great radio voice. Thank you. Have you ever thought of starting a podcast of whatever topic you're a fan of? Looking good, by the way. Keep it up. Thank you. Yeah, feeling good. Podcast. I don't hate the idea, and I have considered it. I don't know. I really love working on Last Epoch, and taking the time, like I don't really have time to do another thing really. You know, like busy family life to try and be involved in as much as I can. Busy game dev life to take up more time than I have. I don't think I could handle another project like that. And really it would just be like, this is my podcast, really. It would be more me rambling about video game design stuff. And I kind of do that on these streams anyways. Some neat stuff in there possibly. Let's sort that out later. Yes. Let's go out. We are pretty far out. There's one over there. Just go for that one. Sure. Is there an item or NPC currently in LE that is near and dear to your heart? Something you created, perhaps? Ooh. There's a new NPC coming that's going to be very near and dear to my heart. That will, I was gonna give like a hint on how to find it, but I don't want to give anything. I don't know how to give that hint without giving stuff away, so I'm not gonna say anything. But it will be a master craftsman.
That was close.
An item. Kermode's cage. I really like that. The turns your bear white. I think that's pretty near and dear one. That was an early one. Fiery dragon shoes. That was another one that I initially pitched. Not very good. I'm fine with that though. But it's a nod to two of my favorite RPGs growing up, Diablo 2 and Guild Wars. Oh, 3. Nice. Yeah. I don't know. There's probably more. There's always more. I never remember them on the spot. When are we gonna see a Death Knight mastery for Paladin? A cold necrotic build on Sentinels would be fun. I do agree that that's probably the next logical place for a necrotic class to go is probably in the Death Knight theming. I don't know. And you're right. It does fit nicely with it does fit really nicely with cold simultaneously, and that's something that we've kind of worked in a little bit to the to the acolyte in general, is that cold damage and necrotic damage theming. But then if we do that, then the only element that's not like widely represented on Sentinel is poison. And even then you can kind of do it in a few situations. So it kind of loses once you can do everything, it kind of loses some of its identity a bit. That's something we've been hesitant to do. I think it's a good way of putting that. Is there anything? Do I have do you have an arrow guard? Sitting around anywhere? 0 as a 1 LP. Probably another one. Do I have the 0 LP Dragon Song? I should take the Dragon Song and just start dumping all my Dragon Songs into a pile to see if any of them will upgrade. Most of them will downgrade, and then I can start sticking them into quite a few 2 LP ones though. Oh, Mike, just pick something. You're losing the thread, Mike. We're gonna go with this item because it's the first one I clicked on. We're gonna go with this item. And we've got a 10-minute warning. If you have any questions, please put them in chat. We'll get those answered before the end of the stream at Last Epoch Game in Twitch and at Last Epoch for YouTube. Is there any chance for a few one-button builds that can clear a decent amount of content? I don't expect to beat Ubers. I deal with Carpal Tunnel and would love to be able to play more. Yeah, there's definitely one-button builds that'll be able to do quite a bit of content. Warpath, I would argue, is a very good option for this. I would also recommend trying to play with controller. There's also just other mapping options you can do to help alleviate some of the repetitive strain on things. So yeah, the main reason we built the controller system in the first place was because the founder has carpal tunnel issues. So he was like, we have to have this because I want to be able to play the game. Oh my goodness. There we go. Would it be possible for Memory Amber to pick up system be changed? While being fast and mapping quick, it becomes frustrating to be forced to walk back and pick them up. Make dot build slower. You mean just like have it auto pick up the second, like not have to go pick it up? It's a pretty big part of like the game to go pick up the things that you get, like to go pick up your rewards off the ground. That's kind of like a core part of the game loop, is picking up your rewards. And so it's not impossible to, you know, allow that sort of system to be automated, but it's not something we're really interested in that much. If you'd like to see it, any suggestions you have for the game at all you'd like to see us consider, you know, it's like, especially, I guess to just speak generally for a second, especially the ones that people have suggested on stream where I'm kind of like, maybe I'm less positive towards it or something like that. That doesn't mean that we're never going to do it. And if you'd like to see it and you'd like to have us consider it, head on over to our Discord channel. There's a suggestions channel there. Sorry, I just got distracted by something. That we pull suggestions from all the time, and we like, it's a great place to get ideas actually considered. So even if I'm not, like, because I'm far from the like the buck stops here kind of guy, like it's if you've got an idea that you want us to consider, put it in there. Even if I've been like, here's what's wrong with it, or here's why I don't think it'll get done, or something like that, please put it in there, because frequently I'm wrong. Simple as that. All right, would Death Knight Mastery be a better choice for Acolyte? Good question. We do already have a fairly melee heavy Acolyte Mastery in Lich. Death Knight sort of implies, I think, a bit of a heavier armor class associated with it. And so you're more, I think, more looking, because armor theming is class wide, like base class wide. I think you're more looking at having that be fairly cohesive from mastery to mastery. So having the melee class still look like they're at home in cloth gear on Acolyte is really important. And a Death Knight, I think, would really push the item drops you're looking for in Acolyte, even at base class, to look much more like plate armor and that sort of stuff. So I think the Death Knight Mastery, if we were going to hypothetically do a Death Knight Mastery, there's no Death Knight Mastery coming in Season 3, I'll tell you that for sure. There's no new Mastery at all coming in Season 3, just to be clear. We would probably put that Death Knight on a Sentinel, I think, more likely. And I know I was pointing out earlier the issues of you know, like, then we're spread really far on elemental coverage, right? There's so many considerations that go into where we're going to put these different features, and this is the sort of debate that we'll have internally when we're like, okay, we want to add this feature, where do we add it? And these like, there's issues all over the place, and how do we mitigate those issues, and where's the best fit is really what we're looking for in the end. Yeah. Hey, is upscaling coming to Season 3, like DLSS stuff? I don't think so. But maybe? I don't think so. I could be wrong. Is there a specific motive for the very endgame skills, damage animations in PoE look more polished than last Epoch? Just curious. I don't think so. They've got more experience doing it. We're definitely something we're working on improving. I think there's a few instances of skills that have sort of a pretty old look in last Epoch still. Very few compared to what there used to be. I think sometimes we can get fixated on where, like, the whole thing looks as bad as the worst thing, or looks as good as the worst thing. And so sometimes you can be like, well, the whole thing looks bad because there's one little bit that feels bad, and it is true. There's one's enough to throw you out of the situation, like to break suspension of disbelief and everything. So it's hard to, you know, you've got to do everything. And so we are working on improving that. There's endgame abilities, stuff that we're working on all the time. New VFX, new SFX. SFX getting a lot of changes coming up. Would you consider putting in a direct player trading system for merchants? Oh, like a player-to-player trading for Merchants Guild. Yeah, we had that in the game. We had to take it out. It was basically... It wasn't really doing much positive for the game because you can do all the stuff through the Merchants Guild as well. If we did put it back in, I think here's the key piece of information. If we did put it back in, it would continue to have the exact same limitations and restrictions as the Merchants Guild Bazaar does. So the only difference would be you know who you were trading to. That's it. So you'd still have to pay the same tax. You still have to pay the same the same favor cost. You still have to have the same ranks to be allowed to do it. Having just a direct free trade one-to-one, here you go, is not something we're really interested in doing right now. Any chance of getting permanent runes, like a permanent rune of shattering? We've talked about things like this. It's possible. I think it would look more like an NPC that has, like, you know, come here and there's like there's a hammer, and it's like every time you swing the hammer it costs 50 gold or something, or 500 gold to swing the hammer, and it's like you can shatter things quickly here. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to put it in the in town, but just in general, like having a way you could feed a different resource in at a cheaper rate to shatter at possibly a worse rate. So you could be like, this is an idea that's been shot down, so I don't think it's going to get added this way, which is why I feel fine sharing it. But we considered for a while having a version where you could always have like a lesser shattering, infinite number of like lesser shattering stones that would always work. And so like if you say we're putting this in and you're doing like a regular shatter, and you get like, oh, I got 7 things here, maybe the lesser one has a cap of only ever returning like half of the things. So you can't, you always get less stuff from the free shattering one or the cheap shattering one. You use your good shattering ones that you actually have to collect for the big stuff. It's something we considered and ultimately decided against. But I mean, things that we've considered, I think, are things that are at least possible. We are getting right up against the end of this here. Roughly how many, if any, new MTX is coming to the store in Season 3? I would say I don't know. So I'm going to guess and say a reasonable chunk, but not an overwhelming flood. Are you looking to change Harvest as the only really melee Acolyte skill, or a way to make it work while every other skill on Lich scaling with different things than Harvest? Yes. There's some updates to Acolyte coming that are going to be great. And some of them is around Harvest, its place in the Acolyte ecosystem, and the things that are around it to make it function nicely and be part of a larger build package and have multiple options there. But yes, Harvest is there's some cool stuff around Harvest that I would love to be able to just tell you that's coming, but I can't yet. Hopefully soon. Season 3 launches the day after my 2-week vacation. Can you bring it forward? Oh, that hurts. I'm sorry, Mr. Fibble. I would love to, but I can't, unfortunately. And we're coming up to the end of the stream here, so we're gonna tag out. Thanks for coming by, everyone. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I will be back same time, same place in 3 weeks from now. Someone else will be here same time, same place in 2 weeks from now. Next week we are taking off. So there's if you're in the States, vacation weekend, or week, I guess weekend, yeah. 'cause it's gonna be a Friday. That's gonna be that doesn't happen every time, so that's gonna be a bit of a gong show probably, eh? We're celebrating ours a few days earlier as usual. In Canada, ours is on the 1st, not the 4th. Yeah, I hope everyone has a great time. Drink lots of water, have fun. We'll see you next time. Let's go find someone to say hi to. Oh, yeah, why not here? Yeah, hope everyone stays safe as well. Like if you're going to a party or something, drink lots of water. It's important to stay hydrated. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.